Still plus politics, Ekiti State, whose appointments were on Wednesday terminated. I'm talking about workers. Yes, of course. They staged a peaceful protest in Ado Ekiti on Friday, appealing to Governor Kayode Fayemi to reabsorb them. Now, I still have Obi Ajegbo, a legal practitioner, and Baba Shola Adegwi still here with me in the studio. I'm just wondering, imagine if you go to bed a worker, salary earner. The next morning, you hear over the TV or radio that you no longer have a job because maybe certain things were not considered before you were given that job. But then people are making a case that they have letters of appointments that were signed duly by the past governor. Do they have a case here? I mean, they're protesting, but if they were to go to court on this matter, I'm asking you as a legal person, do they have a case?
Everybody, there's a case in it, but you have to go back and look at the procedure that was followed, through which got them the appointment. Where the normal, there'll be rules of employment in the civil service, where the test, where the committee set up, where things followed. And that will now determine if they have a case. But still, even if they don't have much of a case, you can't just terminate somebody's employment like that. You have to buffer the termination. So that is where I'm surprised their union has not started talking, because teachers should have a union.
It's interesting. I'm just wondering, Adewi, what do you think is the reason, aside from what the governor is saying, is the reason for this abrupt termination? Well,
according to the governor, he stated that they constituted a committee that looked into all the recruitment that was carried out by the last governor. And they found out that the proper procedures were not followed. So as a result of that, they had to terminate over 2,000 workers. But to my surprise, some of the union leaders actually agreed with the governor. Some of them were like, okay, because according to what I read in the newspaper now, they said that the governor is going to absorb some people and also retain some people that were employed by the last administration. And the union said, okay, that the governor should try as much as possible to live to his word.
But what happens to those who are not reabsorbed? And I'm thinking, are there not, like you said, buffers, you know? Could there have not been like a re-examination? I remember when Comrade Adams Oshomole was governor in Ado State, he tried to do the same thing for teachers because he said that some of them were, and same thing for Kaduna, I think, yes, El Rufai also did the same thing because he found out that teachers who were teaching in some schools were not, you know, up to, yeah, so could there not be like, I mean, I know when I was in the civil service, you had to take an exam or write a test to get to the next grade level. Can that not happen to at least give those people some benefit of doubt?
We should try to understand something. There is no sound relationship between this administration and the last administration.
So this is a vendetta?
I want to believe so. It is a vendetta. So they will not look at the other side. The best thing is, okay, this last administration just created the problem for us by giving out over 2,000 workers for us to absorb, because I think the recruitment actually happened 2 weeks or few weeks to the end of that administration. Yeah. So they saw it as a way of getting back to that governor, but the people are affected in this case.
And it brings me to my next question, Obi. If a governor campaigned to say, I want to better your lot, I want to change things for you, and his first act as a governor is to increase your suffering and take food out of your mouth, is that democracy? Is that true leadership? Shouldn't that be questioned?
Is he really taking food out of the mouth of people that deserve it? For him to do that, there must have been some consideration. I saw last year a video of Adams Oshomole in Edo State talking to a teacher, and the teacher could not spell. Now, for a governor to do that, what of if he has gone down to that level but did not to catch it on video. And he found that the teachers that were recruited were not worthy of that position. That's another one.
But there has to be a rescreening. That's what I'm saying. So there has to be something done, because one person does not equal to everybody who's been recruited, because there might be people who really deserve the job.
And there's another thing again, which immediately I saw it, I just started laughing. I said, are you sure this is not a banana peel? You know, a booby trap said, because 2,000 workers added to Ado Ekiti doesn't have a very good internal generating revenue. Yeah. Added to that is dragging the government. So 2,000 people at a go. Why recruit them so near to the time? Why didn't you do it during your own tenure?
Maybe it was after due considerations. Maybe it was. I'm just saying.
I am, because when a governor does that, I don't automatically come out and criticize him. I like to know what is his information, and he's been around for about a year now. So this must have been given a lot of thought before he did that. But primarily, it is the union that can get these people out. It is the union that can negotiate. Okay, instead of sacking them, if their salary is 20, give them 15.
But the union is now alluding to the fact that it's okay to sack some people and then retain some people. So how do you ascertain? This is my question again. Who stays and who goes?
They have to go back to the drawing board and conduct a fresh. You see, when you want to do something like that, you must have justification. And except if the governor has justification, that's when people will be happy. Conduct the test again. And I can assure you that out of those 2,000, there will be some that are not worthy of that appointment.
Let's talk about government as a continuum. We always pay lip service to this and say, oh, government is a continuum. And we see, and this is not the first time in Nigeria where we see a certain government does something really nice and amiable, and another government comes and shoots it down and does the exact same thing, but a different way, and gives it a different name. So do we see another form of appointment or job opening? Maybe just this time might not be for people, you know, in favor of the past administration.
Remember, there was a time we had a 20-year plan in Nigeria.
Vision 2020. And then we added another 20 to it.
Now, Lagos State is growing because they have a blueprint they are following. And I feel that the elites in a state should come together and say, this is where we want our state to be, and have a plan. Okay, this time, this is what you do, this is what you do, and follow it. If not, it's just a waste of money. Like, there were some pedestrian bridges that Fashola did not finish, especially in the Lekki corridor. And those places are in dire need of those pedestrian bridges. And Ambode did not finish them. So I've been lobbying that they should finish those pedestrian bridges. Not that I need them, but I have witnessed a lot of cars clearing people on the express. So we must come together and forget our differences and put Nigeria first.
Will that work? Because, you know, we also live in a country where party has more power than the personality. No matter how good your intentions are, you do what the party, you know, prescribes. For example, Comrade Adam Oshomole saying, well, you see, we're going to take all the juicy committees in the National Assembly, whether you like it or not, because we are the majority. So how do you work in the interest of the people and not necessarily the interest of the party?
In the real sense of it, actually, the party should be in the interest of the people.
But are they?
But in Nigeria, it's just unfortunate that the party is only in the interest of the members, not even the total members now, people that are influential or connected. That is what most of the parties we have in Nigeria are interested in. Now, is one thing for the elected governor to have an interest, is another thing for the party to have an interest. I can bet with you in some cases that is what they will struggle till the end of the tenure. There is an issue going on presently in Ado State. I learned there is a problem within the governor and the last governor, who happens to be the chairman of the same party, the national chairman of the same party. And the problem I learned is because he's not dancing to the tune. And the man said, the people are my interest. I don't know the interest of the former governor. You get my point? So, in such case, the party, the people, sometimes the people need to work on the party, face the party sometimes. But it's just unfortunate that in Nigeria, the same party that we know are the problems we are facing in Nigeria are the same party we are giving our vote to.
It's sometimes a case of the devil you know.
It's better than the angel.
I'm just saying. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here.
Well, sometimes also, if you don't make a change, you will never know the better part.
We made one change and we're still changing. we're still reeling in the change.
We thought we made a change, but it's just unfortunate that I will let you to know that the change we thought we made is not actually changed, because 75% of the change we want to change are now part of the change that we eventually change.
It's a complicated situation. So I'm just, because I think that if we are running a democracy, for every sentence in the description of a democracy, people ends it. It's about the people. But in this country, the people seem to come last. We're like the back burner.
No, the people had taken their own dividend of the democracy during the campaign and the election.
That is your opinion. There are so many people who didn't take nothing.
Let me give you an instance. There was a particular senator who contested in one of the states, and the people, the youth in that particular constituency now started calling, Senator, we need money, we want to do this, we want to do that. He told them point blank that you guys have collected all the things that you guys deserve before election. So you guys should not disturb. Do you want me to go bankrupt? No, that is just the truth. Until people stop demanding before casting their vote, before exercising their right, we will continue to have this problem.
But who taught the people the politics of money?
The people taught the people the politics of money.
and politicians, people.
I know, I'm just saying. Because you see, we try to make it look like it's just the people who demand it, but somebody opened that, way and said, oh, take some money and do this. And so now they're used to wanting something after you give your long speech. So even when you have the best interest, they're not interested in what you have to say. They ask you what they're going to eat, what they're going to get out of this when you're done giving your long speech. So maybe we need a total overhaul of the system, of our system of politicking and leadership. And I mean, everything needs a total overhaul.
You see, the problem of money has been a consistent, or let me say persistent, issue for the time of the military era. If you remember very well, during the military era, if you were not close to the military head of state that time, you were getting nothing.
But that was the military. We had democracy. We're supposed to change our mindsets and the attitude towards the things we do.
I agree with you. But don't forget that most of the people that were part of the 1999 election, was it the Fourth Republic? I can't remember what republic it was then, were former military aides or any of their affiliates. You get my point? So it's just unfortunate that a lot of things happened at that time that instead of using the court, National Assembly, or taking a firm decision, we use money to decide. For example, the amnesty. That's number one. Then number two, settling all these, what's it called? The officers, government officials, for contract.
Oh.
You get my point? So, and as we are as people, we are so conscious that once we see a man who is now working in government house, and formerly it was maybe worth 1,000 naira. Today we can see that the guy has worth 1 million. We want to be like him. And number one, the first thing they do is to create problem of scarcity, either food, money, employment, anything called scarcity. But because they know that will come back to them, and that is the tool they are using.
Interesting. Abi, I think I'm sounding more like a broken record now because they're both intertwined. The politics of hatred, the politics of vendetta. It's swallowed us up so badly that we really don't even know if we are practicing a democracy. Although we keep saying that Nigeria's kind of democracy is nascent, so it's a bit different. You know, we never really call a spade a spade. How do we get to practice proper democracy? Is it us, the people? Is it does the onus lie on us, the people, to change things, or do we wait for a handful of people who we call government to change things?
Well, I don't want to sound like an ingrate, but if you notice from 1999 to date, the caliber of people that are in the houses have improved.
Have they?
Caliber of people. In the 1999, we had the likes of Adi Bender in the house.
But in 2018, we have Omo Agege and the likes.
Yes, they're evolving. They're evolving. But the only thing I can say is this, is that things are changing. Now, my friends and I have decided to push for some bills to be passed these 4 years. And we are waiting for them to be elected before we now go and meet 1 or 2 senators and push forward a bill to pass.
Your friends, you mean the NBA? Because, you know, we think the NBA should be lobbying for things too, because it's in the benefit of the people.
Not the NBA. My friends, I have friends that are lawyers.
I
have friends that are politicians.
Okay.
I've been speaking to some people about getting some roads done in Lagos, and I've been speaking to some people about passing laws. Now, if those passes through, people will now get the idea that you can make a change. Mm-hmm. And that's how it starts. Oh, this person passed this law through. Let us see if we can pass our own. Now we're educating people to talk to their members. If something is not right, write your member. By the time you write 10 letters, at least one will get the person's attention. Get their number, keep pestering them, keep calling them until you get a call in, and invite them to your estate, invite them to your things, let them see things firsthand. That's how change occurs. But that road in Niger, it's a very, very good road, and I'm the one delaying. They've told me, come and take us to this road, and I have not had the time. So I'm just waiting for the inauguration. When the inauguration is done, I will now take them and show them and put pressure on them that road should be done.
Well, it's time for us to take the bull by the horn. Thank you very much, Babashala Adebuyi and Obi Ajegbo. It means that we need to take the bull by the horn. We need to get involved. We can't keep waiting for government because, you know, I keep asking people, who's the government? We are. Okay. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of the show. We'll take a look at our plus packages now, and when we return, I'll give you my take.
Transparency International has called for urgent steps aimed at tackling rampant corruption in the educational and land sectors across West Africa. The international transparency watchdog laments at the rising cases of insecurity across the sub-region, which has left many West Africans vulnerable to corruption. The executive director of CISLAC and chair of Transparency International in Nigeria, Awal Rafsanjani, wants both sectors strengthened to tackle corruption headlong.
Mission into institution, cloning of land document, allocating land without following due process, land grabbing, sex for marks in higher institutions, discrimination against women, amongst others, are critical issues that need to be addressed across Africa. This is very rampant, and at this 21st century, we cannot continue to do that if we really want to progress and want to develop. The issue of corruption and lack of accountability can be tackled only in coalition and through networks. This is why regional and international collaboration is so important. We, more specifically, Transparency International sought the adoption of intervention in contribution to continental anti-corruption, transparency and accountability efforts. Within the framework of one of such intervention was the mutual agreement to strengthen our collective action and regional advocacy in the above-mentioned areas. I assure you that CISLAC, as Transparency International in Nigeria, will do everything possible to put education and land management on track so that it becomes an important factor in human development instead of national embarrassment and impediment to the socio-economic progress of many nations.
The kind of dangers that our students have been made to undergo, particularly in the course of their studies. ECOWAS, as an institution, has not lost our view, knowing that our educational system has been worse hit, and which makes even our young girls most vulnerable in such corruption in education. That is why we have put in place scholarships for young orphans who are in the course of development beyond the scholarships which I've just mentioned here. ECOWAS has also put in place a program on the perfecting of teacher careers, which is a very essential element to inculcate not only the kind of training the teachers need, but rather to also bring to them responsibility issues that have to do with ethics as educators to actually raise up our young people.
The federal government has tasked regional police chiefs across the West African sub-region to form a common front against insecurity. The Minister of Interior, General Abdurrahman Dambazo, while speaking to a cross-section of the heads of police from several West African states as they converged in Abuja, said insecurity can destabilize the region and stall its progress and development.
The challenges of insecurity posed by corruption, terrorism, communal clashes, hardest farmers' conflicts, trafficking in drugs, arms and humans, kidnapping for ransom, armed banditry, proliferation of arms and light weapons, money laundering, and other transnational organized crimes are some of the vices threatening the regional peace, progress, integration, and development. WAPCO is therefore a forum that affords our police and security chiefs the opportunity for cooperation and collaboration with the aim of profiling solutions to the security challenges confronting the region.
In the West African sub-region, we are faced with numerous regional and international security problems, and it lies within our purview as ministers to find lasting solutions in tackling them by providing leadership and formulating policies, and by also encouraging security agencies under our ministries and services through the provision of the necessary infrastructure and funding to ensure that they are effective and efficient in the discharge of their duties.
It's time for my take. I'm just sitting here wondering to myself, why are we so docile as Nigerians? We complain every day. We complain about how bad our leaders are and how self-centered they are. So I always ask people, so what are you going to do? Because you see, our leadership is just a handful of people. But we, the people, are a lot of us. So don't sit on the fence and point fingers. It's time for you to get into the field, roll up your sleeves and roll up your trousers. Start asking the right questions. Know your leaders. Know those who represent you. Don't go cap in hand begging for little monies to do this and that. Go there demanding for your rights, which constitutionally are actually your rights. You deserve them. And the leaders are supposed to be accountable to you. They're put there by you to serve you. So they do not have too much power over you. Instead, you have a right over them because they're there to work for us. So the next time you feel like you're powerless because you think the leaders have all the power, remember that democracy is for us, the people, by us, the people, not by a government. It's by us, the people, and we, the people, have a right. It's time to take back that right. I am Mariana Code. I'll see you tomorrow.